Wake up, world. Welcome to another special edition of HeartCity TV. I'm your host, Malik Boyd. Happy Friday to each and every one of you. I hope, especially if you're in the northeastern corridor and you had some of this great weather today, that you enjoyed it. Maybe you are sitting on your porch checking this episode out with a glass of lemonade, a good breeze, something good. Well, I'll tell you, we have something great in store for you. If you watch the episode this week of HeartCity TV, we had Bilal, an amazing writer. He's a director and a producer. He put together a tremendous film, Blue Cave. This movie is something special. That's all I can say. I'm excited for its progress, where it's going to go, where it's already been, the accolades that are coming as a result of this amazing production. And he's here tonight along with selected cast members from the film to talk about their journey filming this amazing story, coming together as a unit to bring out the energy, the character of this film. These are talented members of our community. The director is a talented member of our community. It is so important for us to always support great work in the space and excellence wherever it may be. I can tell you right now that this is excellent work. And so we're going to jump right into this. I want to bring up an amazing director, producer, writer in none other than Bilal. He is the one who put together this movie, The Blue Cave. Welcome back home to Heart City, brother. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me again.
Listen, man, since we filmed the initial episode this week, we received tons of feedback. Folk are like, I need to know more about this movie. First of all, it's a brother with a great story. He's talking about an issue that's near and dear to my heart. Individuals could resonate with parts of the story that they heard and understood, that you were able to compile all of that and put that into this amazing film. For those who may have missed that episode, give a brief synopsis of The Blue Cave in this great movie.
Okay, so The Blue Cave, it's a coming of age film. It's a drama with some sci-fi in it. It's about a young boy named Ali who is trying hard to escape gang violence. That's all around his community, everywhere he goes. Since he's not in a gang, he's being bullied by gang members. Yeah. And he's also trying to escape and avoid the brutal child abuse from his drug-addicted stepfather, while also dealing with the neglect from his mom. His only escape is really losing himself in his imagination. He has a very vivid imagination and a dream of becoming a writer. So in the film, it's a film about a boy who's holding on and clinging to his dream while trying to survive a perilous environment that's very abusive and dangerous. And as he becomes a man, he finds that escaping to his imagination is not enough. So he has to deal with the abuse, and he has to deal with the neglect in a way that most young people shouldn't have to.
Now, this story's personal for you in many ways. Talk about that side of this film and why it was important to tell this story.
It was important to tell the story because it's my story. It's what I went through. I went through child abuse as a young man. Growing up on the south side of Chicago, I had to deal with a lot of gang violence because I lived in a lot of neighborhoods where everyone was in the gang, and I was one of the few people who wasn't. And then I also dealt with some issues with my mom growing up when I was dealing with this also. The only thing that really kept me going was a couple things. It was like the seeds that my mother planted in me. I still give her credit for it, even though things went in a different direction with my stepfather being brought into the family. The person who I am and the things I believed as a young man about not doing drugs, not joining a gang, studying and working hard, that came from my mother. I worked, my only career before filmmaking was an educator. And one way I would relate to my students was by telling them my story. Okay. It would often connect with them in a way the academics didn't. you know. And my students would always tell me, someday you should tell this story. You should make it a movie. It's very inspiring. You can inspire other people. So I always had that goal in mind when I left education, because I always wanted to be a filmmaker, to share this story, to start dialogue, and to inspire people. You know, so that was the goal behind me opening up about this and making it a film.
You know, when you talk about a story that's near and dear to you, something that's personal, is pulling on every heartstring that you have. When you get to that point where you're in production and you're writing, you're thinking about who's going to tell the story, what actors can bring out the right energy and really tell the story in the verbal and nonverbal parts of this journey. What was it like, you know, finding the right cast members? Were they dropping in your lap? I mean, obviously this is not a big budget film, right? So talk about that process of finding essentially the diamonds in the rough.
No, it was stressful because, you know, like most things, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
If you want really talented actors, usually you have to pay for those really talented actors because they're usually booked up. I had a lot of auditions. I probably had about a dozen auditions, just looking for the right people who could really capture these characters and capture the tragedy and the drama and the comedy, and actors who had range, who could do it all. I was blessed to come upon the actors that I found because they were willing to work with me as a student filmmaker at the time, who couldn't give them the budget that a lot of them are used to, because they believed in the story. They liked the story. They liked the message that was in the story. So I ended up getting actors I was really happy with. A couple of actors are SAG actors.
Wow.
Who I'm blessed to have. And that's Patrice and also Adrian. They played the mom and the dad. And Robert and Camden, they're booking all the time. So I was really lucky to have them come on, especially with Camden, because it's really hard to find child actors.
Right.
And to find parents who are willing to let their child play a role that Camden had to play with the abuse. But they were on board from jump, because they're all about the community, they're all about the people, and they got the message also of the film. So I was really blessed to have a cast, to finally find them, and for them to really like the work enough to make the type of commitment they did to me without me having the big budget to meet their usual fee. But it was really a journey of having audition on top of audition to finally, because sometimes you just settle for what you have.
Right.
But I was happy with everybody. Like, yes, this is perfect. Yeah, with all of them. I was happy with all of, especially the main cast, the whole cast, but especially the main cast.
That's interesting because, you know, in many ways, you're right. You get what you pay for, but at the same time, you know, there's this unique space where you're able to really, and we talked about this on Wednesday, to be able to cast your vision and have an individual catch that fire. And they turn that fire into, you know, this raging inferno, and it's kind of setting fire throughout the whole set, throughout the whole project. And as a result, you have an amazing film that everybody's scrambling to see. So broadcast audience, understand, I'm not breaking the ranks here. You've got to get to the film festival to see it. But tonight we do have a trailer that we want to make sure that we play for you, so you get a chance to experience just a little bit of the Blue Cave.
Ali! You're Ali!
Ali. Ali.
An amazing Amazing trailer. It makes me want to pull up the popcorn, get the kid next to me, you know, because it's great to see the level of action in there. Obviously, there's going to be some great scenes in there with action. You have this really interesting element with gang activity, which is prevalent in the inner cities. If we're going to be honest, you're South Side Chicago.
Yeah,
I mean, that's let's be real here. I mean, that is the proving ground in many ways as it relates to gang activity, but it's not just germane to Chicago. We have urban areas around the country that young folk are making a decision every day: am I going to stay the course, or am I going to succumb to this pressure? The other piece that we have is being home and having home not really feel.
Because home is really a place where you can be safe and escape it all.
Yeah.
But me growing up, and this is something we really focused on and wanted to capture in the film, home was worse than outside.
Wow.
So when you can't go outside because it's unsafe, and then it's unsafe at home, you know, it's really difficult. And I think with the actors and the writing, we really were able to capture that.
Two individuals who were able to bring out the experience of visiting the Blue Cave. Actor and cast member Camden Cooley and Robert Barnes are here with us. Let's bring them onto the screen to check them out. Welcome.
Hello.
It is great to have both of you with us today. Listen, amazing work. Absolutely amazing work. I need you guys to know, you know, it's one thing to look at independent films and just support it for the sake of being independent and getting out there. It's another thing to look at an independent film and see true quality, true commitment to the scenes, to see that you really put all you had into this film. Camden, I'm starting with you, young brother. I mean, bruh, I want to be like you when I grow up, man. Acting chops are phenomenal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what was it like being on a set that has such a complex story and plot?
You know, I'm just want to say thank you to Muhammad for trusting me with something like that, and it wasn't as tense as you think it would be because the cast was very comforting and I felt very supported.
Wow, I think that's really important, because as a young actor, skip young actor, there are adult actors that get on set and break down sometimes from the role that they're playing and the energy that's created from the role. It's great to hear that you felt comfortable because you had support. Talk about your submergence into this role. What did it feel like to get into this character and in this storyline?
You know, when I read the script, I was like, whoa. it was a step back, and it was a big step for me. But getting inside the role, watching the older me, that really helped.
Watching
So
the older,
yeah, watching the older me and seeing him doing, you know what I mean? It was
doing this thing. I get it.
Yeah.
So that's a great tag team move. So Rob, Camden just queued you up really nice and brought you into the dialogue. You are the older Ali. I saw your face on some of those scenes, especially the scene with where you're confronted by the gang. I mean, the face you had, brother. I think there's at least 10 men watching this right now that have had that face, looking at what could potentially be a death sentence for them. You know, this is the obstacle that I have to overcome in order to get back home, to be in a safe environment, which in this case wasn't even safe. Just get back home in general.
Right.
That's a complex ball of emotions to handle. What was that like for you?
It was now I'm thinking about when we did work on this. It was a lot of emotions going into this and really doing everything. I'll say already knowing the world is out to get you because of your skin color.
Mm.
And it's not just other races, but it's also your race too sometimes. So also having that fear of not being able to go home because I'm just writing something. I'm doing something I love to do, and I can just look up and there could be anything that could just kill me right there. So really having that emotion and really talking to Muhammad about it, I had to really like get rid of that sense of safetyness, that safety net, as in like, you know how your mother or your grandmother will pray for you every time you leave the house?
Indeed.
So just having that out of the back of your head and just thinking like you don't have that prayer or you don't have that safety net. Your life could be taken just like that. And yeah, it was, I'm really thinking about it. It was really, really hard to really wash away how I normally live with myself and how I go about my normal day and just diving into Muhammad's life and being Muhammad at that age. So yeah.
So let me ask you, Rob, and you, Camden, as well. You're telling not just a story that was created by a room full of writers. This isn't, Paramount and Universal sending you a room full of writers that are just creating characters. This is literally your director's life. What did that do in terms of the dynamic on set? What did you feel? I mean, after we go through some of these complex scenes and you experience what you did, and then you turn around and recognize the director actually lived this. Camden?
It was definitely crazy, especially with the choking scene. It took a second to realize like this is somebody's life. And so I definitely felt like I needed to bring it to life.
What about you, Rob?
It was that same thing like Camden saying. What really got me is at rehearsal when he got all the cast members situated and booked, is watching Camden getting choked, like Camden just said, is the choking scene. I'm sitting behind Muhammad while he's directing Camden and the stepfather. I'm just shaking, getting upset that he had to deal with that. Wow. And just watching Camden act and everything come together, it's just like, this is a story that needs to be told because people are going through this and you don't even know it. So yeah.
Muhammad, seeing my life portrayed by another individual, let alone reliving it by writing it and directing it again, going scene after scene to grab the authenticity and energy that you're looking for, I would have needed a hug after that. I would have called Black Men Heal for a couple of sessions. What was that feeling like for you to watch these talented actors literally recreate and reenact what was essentially a moment in time?
Well, firstly, I had to, after finding the right actors, and these two were perfect, right? I had to share the baby. I kind of talked to you about that Wednesday with the first interview. Like, I had to give them some of that. Let it be their story. I worked a lot with them too. Camden's parents and Camden, I was blessed they were willing to come in. We did a lot of rehearsing and had a lot of conversations about it. Same thing with Robert. With Robert, I had to work with a little more because there was some complexities that he really had to go in. And that last scene with the mom, because they're both great actors.
Yeah.
Great actors. But for Robert on that part, I had to have him dig deeper. I have training as an actor because I went to a conservatory at DePaul. So I really had to meet with Robert one-on-one and say, listen, man, you got to let the wall down. Because when you're an actor, you can tell when somebody's acting really well and when they're really having moments and opening up. And he's such a talented actor. He didn't take it personal. He knew exactly what I was saying, and he went there.
Wow.
So that's why you'll see with his performance. For me, watching it, though, it's kind of like what I said before. I've healed from it, and I've had, counseling for it. So I have some objectivity, my story, but it's almost like a story to me almost a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
I'm willing to open up and talk about it and be artistic about it. And because I trusted them and they did such a good job, I was comfortable and okay. And they were really sensitive to the material too. Yes. I think I got a hug from Patrice.
Yeah.
The first table read. So they were kind of honored that I was trusting them with such a sensitive story. So I feel like this was a loving family who I was sharing this with, and we all were treating this story like our baby. So they also helped me feel comfortable too, because they were taking it so serious and they were treating it with such sensitivity also.
Speaking of it being the baby, you talked about sharing the baby, and helping this thing grow, creating a village by which this thing would thrive. There's sacrifices made for you, emotional sacrifice, being able to share and pull from some of the deepest chambers of your heart to get this on paper. Obviously for the actors and actresses to be able to recreate this, to leave their comfort zone. Yeah, and go into that space, right? To literally go into your world. And then there's other sacrifices. Rob, I heard that some of you had paid opportunities and said, look, I'm going to forego this paying gig in order to do this film. Why?
When you just feel something, like something good, and it's just like when me and Muhammad were talking, I just sense that, to be honest, we were getting close while doing the whole process. So it just became like, when I first read the script, it was like, this is a story that needs to be told. It's real life. A lot of people can relate to it and really come to, like, just grow out of it. And also, I felt like, for me personally, it kind of brought up some things that I needed to talk with myself for a certain person in my life, my dad, and and Muhammad knows about that conversation. So it was just like, everyone can gain something out of this, even me, Cam, the two other actors, everybody else. So it's just like, it would be a disservice not to do this. It would be a disservice not to go 100, 2,000% into this film.
Wow.
So I thank you, Muhammad, so much for this.
I thank you, because like I wasn't gonna tell him not to take a page out.
Yeah,
it was serious commercial work he had, but he was so committed, and we had did so much work, and he had vested so much in the story, and given it his all, and we did a lot of work, like one-on-one, with really getting there. The stuff you see in the film, we really worked at that, and Robert was really committed. But I would never try to hold anybody back from opportunity, but he saw this as his story and his film too. So I was really blessed with everyone. My main cast, Camden and his parents, everyone, because they really, really believed in the story. It was really a blessing to have people treat my baby and love my baby as much as I did. Yeah.
Camden, your name comes up continuously as not only a topic of the transition points in this film, but as a very standout principle in this space. What also comes up when they talk about you are your parents and the support and love that you have received from your parents, which quite frankly is totally contrast to some of what we see in the film. Your father is with you tonight. I had the opportunity to broadcast audience. I got a chance to talk to Dad in the green room before we came on, but I want to shout out Dad, who was just, amazing in supporting your son. How does it feel looking at this young king develop and watch his gifts unfold?
Wow, I'm amazed. I feel absolutely blessed that I've been put in a position to father Camden. He's just exhibited something special from birth, from like a little child. And, I'm so happy that I found a partner, my wife and I, that have a similar type of parenting methodology, in the sense that we knew that our goal was to help Camden identify his passions in life early and then pour into that. And that's exactly, what this was, coming across this opportunity. After first reading the script, I gotta be honest, we were like, man, this is heavy.
Yeah.
And at Camden's age, he's done acting, but most of it was like, comedic type stuff, Disney
Right.
stuff, really kind of stuff. So this type of content, we were a little concerned at first, right?
Okay.
But Muhammad did such a great job really taking the time and not just presenting this as a work, but really almost like a passion piece is how it was presented, as it being his story. It really turned into an opportunity for Camden to develop, to do a dramatic type of role. And seeing it come to life, like I was really amazed. There was reference into the choking scene. As his father, watching that scene, it was extremely difficult the first time, because it was just so real. It was so authentic. And I almost forgot at the time, like, man, that's my kid,
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful to have the opportunity for Camden to be a part of this.
It's interesting. You make me think back to a day. This is, before I realized that I would not be the second coming of Denzel Washington. I was in a film, or in a theater project, and I had to literally get slapped on stage. And my youngest daughter, well, at the time, she's now 19, but at the time she was a little child. And she watched me get slapped. Obviously, it wasn't a slap, but to her, that was dad, just getting knocked down in front of her. She lost it. It was. We literally had to stop rehearsal just to get her back and spend 15, 20 minutes. So one can only imagine when it's flipped,
right?
And you're watching your son go through something so traumatic. What's interesting, because you bring up some great points as a father, but I hung on the very first words that you said. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to be Cam's father. That's a different twist, because most of the time we're like, yeah, I'm his dad. I put it down. My 23 chromosomes are shining through. You're like, no, none of that. I'm happy with the opportunity to watch this young king grow. I think that's a lesson for all of us in many ways. Talk about fatherhood and the importance of allowing your child to have solid foundation, something that essentially, with all due respect, would be the opposite of this film.
Yeah. For me, it's about preparation. And I say that I'm blessed because if I'm being honest, what am I doing? Like, how do I know how to do this? Right? Because it's just no handbook for it. And yes, I have examples, coming up in life, but this generation in time is just so different with social media. And, you go to say something to your kids and you really just have to look at what the current atmosphere is with technology and all of that. So many times you kind of looking for guidance through prayer and ones that came before you. So I have to say that I'm blessed, but it's all about preparation. When I say helping him identify his passions in life, I think about myself and me. Man, it wasn't until I turned 40, now 41, do I finally feel confident that I feel like I've got things figured out as far as my outlook on the world, right? So I'm trying to give him all of that early, established. My grandfather used to tell me, if you find something that you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. Right. And it makes so much sense that if I can set a foundation for my kids to be able to monetize their passions in life, what better setup for life is that? So when Cam exhibits a passion and a hunger for entertainment, right, and he acts and he models and he's a published author, and he's in the fashion, anything that he has interest in, that we have the availability that we can invest in and push and allow him to experience that. I think it's extremely important for him to do it, and just for the reasons, as you say, the opposite of what the character in this film got in reference to support, to say, what if that creative spirit was nurtured? What if those dreams were poured into so they can be allowed to flourish, that, the sky is just a destination and not a limit?
So Camden, your dad told on you, man. You're an author, an actor, an entrepreneur. You sound like a mogul in the making. I know I have a show, but in case something happens to Heart City, I'm willing to submit my resume now so I can come work for the foundation, brother. You are on your way, man, to doing some absolute amazing things. Rob, as you're listening to this story and you're hearing Camden's father talk about the great work that he's doing and this journey to be able to fine tune some things in life, we get these pivotal moments, whether we're able to involve ourselves in a project or our own individual journey, that we're able to look back and go, wait a minute, here's an opportunity to fine tune some things. Here's a lesson learned. Here's an ability to go on a mission, and we get these kind of mission mandates from these moments. Were there any that you experienced in this film?
To bring more confidence into your work for myself. I'll go back to what Muhammad was saying, is that other projects that I had, I was acting really great, really well, but I never had a piece or a character or a story that pushed me into the zone. You know how like basketball players or any like athletes they just get into the zone. This film got me into the zone, and I think the scene with the mother is when the zone was at its highest. And just thank you so much to the cast for pushing each other. Muhammad, thank you so much. And I'm hoping now, after I had this taste, more projects will come my way where I go even beyond my limit. I don't even know what a limit is.
Wow. I have much to learn from you guys, not just in terms of what I thought my acting career would be, but more about life in general, the way you approach this film, the excellence by which you brought to it, the sacrifices you made, walking away from money in order to gain something much greater that's going to build more of the character and legacy and profile. Camden, you make me reflect on my whole childhood. I messed that up. I should have never played stickball, handball. I should have been focused on everything that you're doing, bro. And so you make us think about ways that we can inspire our children, especially having a loving father like you do. Such a great example of, look, whether I got it right or not, I'm going to be there for him. I'm going to make sure that Camden has the resources, the support that he needs. He's going to look back and see another face that not only looks like him, but one that he came from, standing in the gap for him. Those things are life lessons that I think the community as a whole can gain from this movie and this experience. I want to talk to the both of you some more. All right. So we're going to bring you guys to the backstage area, and I want to bring on the parents because I want to talk to them as well. Rob, you brought up some great points about the mother and all of these elements, but Dad had some powerful scenes too. I mean, I looked at some of those scenes, the choking scene. I was like, I want no parts of Dad right there. This is a very real thing. And so I want to make sure I talk to them as well, and then I'll bring you guys back in. Is that all right? Perfect. So I want to really tell the listening audience, this movie is important. It's beyond just a independent film. I need you to know it's not just an independent film. This is healing for the community. This is a movie that you must have in your library. Skip your Netflix and chill. Skip your Power. It's cool. But Blue Cave, you have to have this film in your library when you have the opportunity. I'm going to bring in Muhammad back, and we're going to bring in Patrice Battey and Adrian Washington. Look, first of all, welcome home to Heart City. It's great to have both of you with us.
Thank you for letting me be here. I appreciate it.
Look, the second thing that I'm going to say is, the Oscar goes to at least the one that I can control, because both of you, I mean, really, these were amazing performances. Patrice, I'm gonna start with you. you're the matriarch on set. You know, you're kind of calming things down. You're in the mom role through and through. And I saw from Muhammad's nod that clearly that I'm on the right track in that space. Talk about this journey of playing such a very crucial role, one that honestly has so much emotion in it. Essentially, you're looking at your child go through this this just amazingly trying space.
But that's what was so difficult, because as a mother, and I couldn't imagine standing by and watching a man who's not even my child's father put his hands on him. So that the work for me was trying to get into her headspace so that I didn't judge her, because you really can't play someone who's judging.
Right.
So at first my thought was, I don't know anything about this life.
Yeah.
I remembered I do, because actually my mother and my grandmother, I've heard the stories.
Wow.
So, I knew my grandmother's a different person.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I got to speak with her and learn her regrets. So I tried to look into my love for my grandmother and my seeing her pain and her vulnerability, and play from there.
Okay.
It's difficult though.
I see it all over your face. I mean, yeah. And so there's the actress side where you have to pull from a professional level. Then there's the Black woman watching a young Black king, a future king, go through this trauma, and you see it in various stages. And then there's like the motherly instinct, that all these things you're contending with and having to put into this role. If there was one life lesson that you extracted from immersing yourself in this world of the Blue Cave and from the role of the mother, what would it be?
You can't shovel anything under the carpet.
Wow.
You can't see injustice and not act on it, because it comes back. Just as she was sitting, there's one scene, she's sitting at the table with her son, and she thinks she's having a light conversation, and finally he confronts her with the abuse. Why did you let this happen to me? You're a hypocrite, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I've always been somebody who likes to confront things. I've actually had to learn in my life how not to confront things in the moment. Sometimes be a little softer with it.
Yeah.
But this kind of just proves it to me.
Wow.
Yeah, that you have to deal with the demons. Dealing
with the demons. Adrian, my brother, there's a lot going on in this film. It's just what it is. You too had to immerse yourself into a very challenging role, one that many would say Black men fall into the stereotype of. We're the angry, violent, misunderstood, and you had all of that. The stereotype, the actual reality that exists in the storyline, and the fact that this is my director's life, and I have to put that on film. What was that experience like for you? Let's try and get your audio. We need your audio. Let's see if we can get you in.
Can you guys hear me?
We got you loud and clear.
It was an uphill battle. It was really, really difficult. And the thing is, I pulled from my past. I pulled from particular men in my past in order to create this one man. I grew up in an inner city. I grew up in Newark, and it was pretty rough childhood. There were it's amazing how, and I'm sure that Muhammad can attest to this. Even in all of that craziness, you still find some beauty in it. So so I pulled from these men who, to this day, I still very much care a lot about. And it's so funny that they had the same tendencies as Sherman.
Yeah.
So that makes you think, you know, which brought me to the understanding of maybe Sherman is going through his own set of issues that he needs to address, and he doesn't know how to cry, and this is him crying. So, and yeah, the more he wants to cry, the more it comes out as anger.
Yeah.
So yeah, so and I mean, it was horrible, the things that Sherman did, you know. And after the film, it took me some time to really deal with, you know, Sherman as a character, you know, to shed that off, you know, tell myself that, yeah, this isn't who I am. And, you know, the building of that process, you know, Muhammad gave us a bunch of rehearsals, which I really appreciated. You know, I truly appreciated it. It gave me a chance to meet Camden, gave me a chance to meet Robert. I had known Patrice from other work, but I was really excited to see her on a regular basis, and the other actors that participated as well, and to really get a feel for who they were and how much I could go into physically with them.
So let me ask you a question, because you bring up a very, very valid point. You know, for Black folk in general, because Patrice, I want to make sure that I include you in this dialogue as well. But especially Black men, we're told not to cry. We're told not to, you know, and the way we process our emotions is supposed to be decisively different. We've got to be Shaka Zulu plus some, you know, never shed a tear, you know, and always file it away, never show weakness. But in many ways, that's the cause, or at least the springboard by which scenarios like this deepen and become more drastic, become more vicious and violent. Because if I can't get it out one way, it comes out another way. I think about my father. I love my father. I've only seen him cry once in 43 years. I'm 43, right? Which then influenced me to do everything I can to never ever shed a tear. Never, you know, we're going to process it every which way but the water dropping from my face. Talk about our opportunity to look at mental health from that perspective of the father. And then Patrice, I want you to take a look and dig into this as well, because mental health seems to be also a very prevalent topic, or at least a point by which we can begin to dissect this experience of the Blue Cave and the family.
Definitely.
I'm watching a lot of Black men, and it's inspiring to see speak on how they've gotten over the hump.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, including Bilal Muhammad tonight, clearly said it. He said that he dealt with his trauma by getting counseling. And it inspired me, you know, to seek out. It made me question, is there something that I need to address in my life, you know, in my past? And I'm sure there is, and I think I'm going to look into it, because watching other men of color go out and do this it's uplifting, it's inspiring, and like you said, your father didn't cry for 43 years, and so that put in you not to. You know, so watching you all, even your show, you know, this show was, I watched the other day for the first time, and I was really impressed with your platform.
Thank you.
You're doing a really, really fantastic job. And one of the things that I loved the most was you were focused on men of color. You know, I think a lot of times, and this is no slight to our women, but a lot of times we do get put to the wayside. You know, we're taught to accept that. And so to watch you all do this, it truly inspired me, and I'm sure it inspires a bunch of people, and a bunch of young men. And I think this is a step in the right direction, you know. And Sherman in that generation, they didn't have that.
Yeah.
You know, or if they did, it was very in small pocket.
Right. Patrice, I mean, your perspective is far more complex. Our women have been the backbone in the community in so many ways, and the family dynamic in so many ways, and challenges in keeping the structure in space in place and in the right space when the police are on brothers' backs, mental health is on our backs, expectations and stereotypes are on our backs. You had to see all of that and deal with the perspective of the mother. And if I've gotten this correctly from watching, it's almost like one could argue that she was coming from a vulnerable, weakened state by not saying anything. But at the same time, you can look at the strength of it. Like, I've got to persevere through this. I can't beat him. I can't, this is a grown man here. There's some things I got to figure out. Nonetheless, I'm going to try and work through all of this and figure out what the next day is like for us. Mental health is not just for the Black men. And shout out to Black Men Heal and other great organizations. Mental health for all of us matters. Talk about your perspective on mental health through this film.
Well, my feeling about, I'm a big advocate of therapy and mental health, because I feel like that's the basis for everything, for how you interact with people. You have to know yourself. In this film, what struck me was that this is a woman who was so well educated and who worked to rehabilitate people and never seemed to seek out therapy for herself or think about getting therapy for this man. Who knows the conversations they had in private? Maybe they did mention it, talk about it, but she stayed with him regardless. That I don't really understand. I know from my personal experience, I grew up with a father who had, when I was younger, a lot of anger issues. Then I learned that a lot of it stemmed from Vietnam, because he had a pretty good, decent childhood. And then he went to Vietnam and it blew his mind. And you talk about men crying. The first time I saw my dad cry was when we had a big argument. And I decided I had nothing to lose. I'm going to give as good as I get. And he actually cried because he saw himself in me. And he got therapy after that. Until he passed, he's always my best friend. But yes, I'm a big advocate of mental health. And I feel like in this film, that would have been a gift she could have given to her family. That could have given her, I mean, I don't know your mom that way, Muhammad, but I just feel like it would have maybe brought some peace to the family. If she had worked on herself or maybe challenged, maybe she didn't want to challenge.
I'm looking at it objectively, like I'm able to do now because of therapy. Her generation was all about, and she would say this all the time, I don't got time for no counselors, nobody getting into my head. Leave it up to God. Pray to God and move on. And I think that was her way of dealing with things. But sometimes the next generation, they break away and they are more vocal. So we see in the film, Ali wants to confront it. Like, no, I'm not ignoring this. But one thing I learned later, that my mother also, there was a lot of abuse in her background. While she was, and that's how her mother dealt with it. Just don't say nothing and try to stay out of his way and everything will be okay. So it was like a generational thing. Which I would touch on if it was a feature. In the short, you can't really go into everybody's lives. But yeah, there was some issues there that I didn't understand then that I understand now. Same thing with Sherman. He had his own issues too. And he turned to drugs and just being abusive to deal with. I tried to capture a little bit of that at the end of the film with him and Ali, that last scene. But there was issues all around in that household. And I tried to capture that as much as I could.
You bring up a great point, Muhammad. Look, faith is a very crucial part of our experience, especially with our ancestors, our older generation. Faith was and is everything for men. But also, faith without works is dead. So in many ways, you have faith. God is going to see us through. He's going to bring us out of this. And God's like, I got, this is why I got therapy right here, right? Like that's why I have this resource right here and that resource right here. I need you to use it now. Put in the work, add it to the faith. And I think that's really important as well, because we can't get so caught up in the spiritual sense of it that we miss the solutions that already exist that the creator has put in place for us to deal with it, to Patrice's point, like therapy and other opportunities. Adrian, if there was anything that you learned from this role, something that stuck with you and you're like, you know what, it's not in the script, but I need this to leave my heart and enter into the heart of the broadcast audience right now, what would it be?
I need to be a better man. Every day, just making better choices. You don't understand your actions, they affect other people, and making other people deal with your consequences.
Wow.
That's deep.
Wow. Yeah, he just, so clearly I just opened up service. He just did a whole sermon and left right there. I mean, but Adrian, you're right. You know, and even now you're making me think personally about choices made. It's so important because many times we get in a space and we're in the moment. We're reactionary. It's just me, myself, and I in that moment. I'm in survival mode. We never think about the aftermath of the blast. And how many people got caught in the blast. Patrice, clearly we got another version of TD Jakes in your co-star because he just dropped all kinds of bombs on us. Talk about, from your perspective, you have this amazing role, so complex, but you brought it to life wonderfully. In that role, there's some life lessons. What were the ones that stuck with you that you want to pour from your heart to the heart of the broadcast audience?
Oh, wow. I don't know if I can top Adrian. I know, just coming from a mother's point of view, that when you have children, just like when you're in a marriage, you make a commitment, you also make a commitment to your children. Which I think is even bigger than the marriage commitment, because you're shaping these young minds, you're making a promise to them, whether it's not verbal, but it's a certain responsibility that you're going to keep them safe, that you're going to teach them, that you're going to make sure they become the best adult that you can. Not to say some people don't veer off into a different path, no matter how much you do. Probably just to put your children first.
Wow.
Everyone else.
Those things sound very simple. Nonetheless,
I think
they're very important. They're very important. And in this film, broadcast audience, I'm telling you, this film is a must see. Not just for the amazing talent that exists in Patrice and Adrian, but this is healing in a very creative form and creative way. We have to support it. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to fill up the screen because I want to bring back Camden and I want to bring back Rob, and I want us to have a group discussion. I want to feel like I was at least the grip on set, you know, hanging with all of the stars. And so, Rob, Camden, welcome back to to this episode. So you guys heard from the parents of the film. What were your thoughts when hearing some of the words and expressions that they gave us around their roles and the impact? Rob, I'll start with you.
I'll say, one, thank you for you two for being amazing scene partners and really bring out yourself so I could bring myself out to match you guys. I'll start with Adrian, my guy. Like that scene, every scene is a tough one, but to really do scenes like that and to really exclude yourself out is really hard, because obviously it's not my story to tell, it's someone else's, and there's other people's story that matches that. And I thank Adrian for helping me, giving me advice on the side too, to really help with the scene also. My lovely mother. That scene was really tough for me personally, because I was trying to view my mother, and how the scene goes, I would never see my mother say or do those things at all, even throughout the movie. And I thank you for give me the space to really like feel your emotion expression to help get the scene to where it was. It's just, I thank you both for that. I think that's all I gotta say.
No, listen, you know, I hear your heart in your words. And I think it's going to translate to the broadcast audience and to those who go to see this film in the festival arena. Camden, young king, your parents are on the screen, your film parents, that is. You've heard them, you've heard their words. What are your thoughts?
I was listening to Patrice and talking about her dad and how she was trying just like see why the mom stayed in the relationship, and then I heard Mr. Muhammad say about her having some type of abuse in her life too, so that really helped me see the mother more. And I was talking about the dad as well, how he was like, well, I had to like take therapy or like shake myself off to tell myself that I was not that person. And you did a really good job with that. You scared me for a second. I thought I was getting really choked out.
Yeah. Wow. It's a tremendous amount of talent surrounding you, Muhammad. You are a blessed man to have this level and capacity of talent in the space to tell such a powerful story. How does all this make you feel? I mean, right now, I'm not a part of the film, but if you look on the screen, we're surrounding you almost like the Black Brady Bunch right now. You know, and you're literally the central core of this amazing experience. How does this feel watching this manifest itself into this great reality that is shaping up for the Blue Cave?
I mean, it's a dream come true. I mean, that was one thing I tried to show through the film. Ali always wanted to tell stories and make films. That's something I always wanted to do since I was a kid, you know. So to meet people to help me, you know, bring that to life, they're forever like family, all of them, you know. And then finding each one of them and them taking the film so seriously and taking the character work so seriously. I mean, whatever I asked of them, they were for it. Like they were willing to go above and beyond. You don't get that a lot. Some people, they have egos because they're talented and they got this credit and that credit. I didn't even know what all of them had done. Wow. You know, like the education of the parents, the SAG actors, they have an outstanding resume. Robert, he does tons of work. Camden, they're in LA now. They're all over. I was blessed that they were still on the East Coast when this was being filmed, and his parents were so supportive. Because like his dad said, this was some heavy material. Like, and I was concerned, like, am I going to find parents who are going to be okay with this happening on screen, even though it's play, you know, it's acting, it's still very serious. But seeing them all and having this happen, I mean, it's a dream come true. I'm humbled, very humbled. And like they say, it's me. I'm like, no, it was you guys. You know, if you guys weren't there, the work wouldn't be what it was. You know, regardless what happened with awards and festivals, like I'm really happy with what they did. You usually have like a vision when you're a director, really lofty, and is it going to come out this good? I think it came out better than what I expected it to. And I think all of them know a little bit about my work ethic right now, but they exceeded, you know, what I had in mind. The actors, no complaints.
It's amazing. You talk about the film and the festivals and the awards and accolades. Let's get right into this. This film is being entered in numerous festivals. There are numerous opportunities for one to not only see the film, but to support the film, to let those around the world know that this is a must-see and it is deserving of every accolade possible. Talk about where the film is now, how individuals who are watching the broadcast or who will watch this at a future date can support the Blue Cave in this great work.
Right now, the next place that we're going to be screening, I think it's like April 22nd to May 2nd, is the Michael Musso Film Festival in LA. They're going to be streaming their festival because of COVID. They can get tickets there. They can go to the website, which is bilalworld.com, And then we're also on Instagram. There's a underscore after every word, the Blue Cave. So it's the blue underscore blue underscore cave underscore. So they can either go to bilalworld.com or to the Blue Cave and get updates. But the next place where we're going to be screening at is going to be online with Michael new show film festival, which is a predominantly the founders. It's a predominantly Black film festival that celebrates diverse filmmakers. So we're really excited about that. And those tickets are on sale right now online as well.
And we're going to make sure that we, donate a few tickets. So we'll purchase for a few lucky folk to be able to check it out and see it for themselves and see this great work. And we'll make sure that we post the link online as well, because I think it's important for our social media demographic to have access to this link, and more importantly to put the butts in the virtual seat to make sure that they're checking this film out. Now, I have nothing but talent on the screen. Whenever we have talent on the screen, I have to go into this segment. This is not like a Jimmy Fallon segment, so I'm not going to punk y'all or make y'all have to work. I don't want SAG on my back for trying to make y'all improv in the middle of the broadcast. However, we're going to do a word association, especially from a acting perspective. Words matter. They bring out various emotions. So we're going to ask you to give us the first word that comes to mind when I give you a word. Patrice, I'm going to start with you. The word is love.
Family.
Camden, love.
Hate.
Ooh. Adrian, love.
Pain.
Pain. Rob, love.
Sacrifice.
Camden, family.
Hugs.
Indeed. Rob, family.
Support.
Patrice, family.
Commitment.
Adrian, family.
Hope.
Rob, healing.
Accountability.
Wow. Wow, that was a whole workshop, Muhammad, right there.
I'm blessed.
Right. You are blessed. All right, with that said, we'll just do the benediction and we'll get out of church. Yeah? Wow. Camden, healing.
Destruction.
Wow. Adrian, healing. Crying. Patrice, healing.
Peace.
Wow. I'm going to give the last one to you, Muhammad. Healing.
Responsibility.
It's clear that you and Rob were having conversation on set. Yeah, y'all
we had a lot.
Listen, I need all of you to know, on behalf of the Heart City family and the broadcast audience, we love each and every one of you. We do not have to know your personal story or be connected to you personally in order to love you. You are a part of us, our people. You are telling the stories of our people, and it's because of you these authentic stories are out in the space. And so I need you to know that we honor and appreciate the amazing work that you guys are doing. And I promise, as well as the family at Heart City, that we're going to do everything we can to support and promote not just this film, absolutely powerful film by Muhammad Bilal, but then also the great work that each and every one of you are doing individually. You have an amazing career path ahead of you. I am sure that the work is not done. And so wherever you are, consider this home. You will always find warmth, and to Cameron's point, hugs here at the Heart City family. So Muhammad, I'm going to leave the last word to you, my friend, from your heart to the heart of the city. You're now out of the cave, being able to tell the story of the cave. What do you want us to know, to take with us from our heart to yours?
There's power in healing. You know, it's painful at first. It's like having a surgery. You know, it might hurt you at first, but over time, you'll feel better than you did before the surgery. It took a lot of healing for me to get to this point where I can make this film, but it makes me a better artist. And that was, in some ways, I was able to work with Robert. I'm like, yo, deal with your own pain, deal with some heartache in your own life. So you're not just giving a good performance, but you're having a moment. And he had some beautiful moments on set. I'm like, keep rolling, don't cut that. Yeah. But I think it's necessary. I think people should share their stories to inspire people, because a lot of times people think their situation is they're the only person going through this. There's people who have all levels of success, who've gone through all amount of trauma, and who've come out on the other end okay. So I think once people know that, that alone is inspiring. And that was at the core of this particular story. Because I could have made a story about anything. We could have made a story about drag racing or anything else. But it was this particular story where I wanted to do something that could be most impactful. And I think the best way to impact people is to open up and share stories and find commonality with things that are going on in your own life. And again, I was blessed to find these actors, and it was 21 actors total. These are the 4 main actors, but to have everybody coalesce around a story and who believed in that message. And I hope people, support and see the film so it can have success, and I can tell more stories like this that are important to us and reflect us. I think it's tremendously important.
Broadcast.
And thank you for the platform for, having us on. I'm glad you liked it. After you screened the film, I was happy that you really liked the film, and you've had us on twice in a week. So we really appreciate you, and Kendall also, for having us here and allowing us to use your platform.
Listen, it's been an honor to watch this level of talent come together to tell such a powerful story. It is absolutely an honor for us to share the platform and prioritize, the great work that you're doing. Broadcast audience, I need you to support the Blue Cave. Go see the film. Go to the film festival. See the film. That $20 that you spend at Starbucks for a grande and some macaroons and whatever else you spend, put that towards the Blue Cave. Make sure you support. And then I need you to share. Tell the story on your virtual platforms. Make sure that you're telling people this is a must-see film. Go in your clubhouse rooms and tell folk you need them to go see the Blue Cave and the great work that is done by this tremendous group of actors. Listen, before we go, Muhammad, I just want to put my bid out there. I play a mean hot dog cart guy, substitute teacher, whatever. I play deacon in the church. Just put me in the game, coach. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna that seriously. I'll get my chops together.
I got a million ideas. I'm serious. You're gonna hear from me. I got something for you.
I'm nowhere near as close as these great actors, and I need all of you to know the best is yet to come for each and every one of you. Really excited about the great work. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
So you have heard, listen, these are amazing, amazing actors, actresses that we have to support. We have to support. We talk about creativity. We talk about owning our own space. We talk about supporting our own. Here's a project that you can get behind fully. I need you to get out and support the Blue Cave. We'll put the trailer on our social media. It's already there from the previous episodes, but then we'll also make sure that we place it in our social media throughout the week. All I'm going to ask you to do, just share it. Tell people you need to get behind this. You need to support this and the great actors and actresses that were placed in this movie. In addition, support Muhammad Bilal and what he's doing. This is an amazing filmmaker. This is not the last that we will see of him before he gets to the award shows, before he gets to the major production deals. We need to let the big film houses know that we support his work in its full authenticity. We will not want it watered down. Give it to the main screen just as authentic as he's given it to us in the film festival. The Blue Cave, the movie. I need you to see it, support it. The Heart City family loves you so much for spending this time. It's a Friday night. Thank you so much for joining us on this special. We're going to leave this special with one more run through of the trailer from the Blue Cave. Have a great night, a great weekend. We love you.
You're elite.
Ali. Ali.